Hello, hello. All right. Say hi. Let me know you are here. We'll get started in a moment. How's everyone doing? You can let me know. If you have questions, you can chat them in. And I want to take a few minutes to answer any questions that are coming up. And hi, Kat. Hi, Jackie. Yay. Glad you all are here. Any specific questions? So I'm going to talk about thinking patterns, and I've got some crazy hair. Thinking patterns and despair anchors today. And we'll do a little clearing, but I also like to take this moment to really connect with you guys and see how you're doing. How'd everybody do after the storm? If you were in one of those places where the storm moved through, or if you're listening on replay later on, say hi too. Okay. I'm going to turn my phone off so that we don't get interrupted. Hi, Shannon. Good to see you here. Okay, so no questions right now. And that's okay. Without power for 14 hours, oh, that's no fun. Could have been worse, but it is no fun. I am in my hometown in Cocoa Beach, Florida. My brother bought the house that we were raised in, as kids, and so this house is like old. It's an old house. I think it was built in like the 40s. He raised his whole family, and he's living there now, still living there. His boys are all adults and living out in the world, and the eye of the storm was right over them, I think on Friday morning. And I spoke to him. I was like, do you still have power? And he did. And then by the end of the day, he did not have power, and I don't know if he's gotten it back yet. And my dad and stepmom live in another area of town, but they managed to not lose power. So, I mean, could have been so much worse. The East Coast did really well with that storm. Just some minor damage compared to the rest of the state. Okay, dears. So, no real questions. I'm looking over here at the chat. If anything comes in, ask away. Hi, Chris. And we'll dive in. So Chris says, I'm wondering if this anchor is about a repetitive fear or anger and a person who is very close to me. So you can have a specific, let me answer that as I dive into despair anchors. I'm going to speak for a moment just in general about like thinking patterns, how they get stuck in our field, and then I'll specifically read the like what a despair anchor is according to body code. So body code is this program that most of you in my world have seen me use. It's one of the very first certifications I ever did as I moved away from psychology into energy healing, and I call it modern day shamanism. I'll just show you it because there's a literal app for it. So I hope this shows up on your screen. They call these maps. And so there's energies, circuits or systems, toxins, pathogens, misalignments, nutrition and lifestyle. And so we muscle test what specific area, and there's over 1,000 different types of energies within body code. And so sometimes I'm working very general, right? Like I'm like clearing out wobbles in your field, and sometimes working very specific on something that's coming up within body code. So for example, if I click on energies, it opens up to 6 more areas. Or is it traumatic? Is it offensive? Is it mental? Is it a allergy or intolerance? Is it environmental? Is it a reverberation? And then you get all the way down into the very root after a couple of clicks, and you get a description, which is, this is the despair anchor area, and I'll read this to you. And then you get a chart to be able to find even more specific what some of your thoughts are. And so I'm actually going to like tune into the group today. I'll ask you to give me permission, and I'll tune in and I'll pull up some of the despair anchors. And so as you listen, some of them will be yours and you'll go, oh yeah, that's totally mine. And some of them will be, will feel like, no, that really doesn't resonate. That's not really me. And so it's just somebody else that's listening. So we'll do some of that today. But in general, I want to talk about how important monitoring our thinking is. So if you pay close attention to what's going on in your thought field, right? So what's sort of the frequency of thoughts? Like, are you somebody who is just overly optimistic all the time? Like, you're always seeing the positive in everything. People get annoyed with you because you're so positive. Or are you somebody who is really more negative, that you're projecting negative into the future? You're telling yourself stories of the potential negative that could be going on. And by negative, I mean, I'm unsafe, I'm unworthy, things don't work out for me, I'm bound to have some bad thing happen, like those kinds of things. So paying attention to what is the texture, what is the frequency of the thoughts in your field can be huge in transforming your life out of depression, anxiety, fear-based states, things like that. And really even any dis-ease in the body. I mean, there's a very strong correlation between pain and depression, right? So if you're one of those people that has lower frequency thoughts, you are literally programming that into your mind. And I bet you catch yourself and you're like, man, I'm in a crappy mood. And if you take the time and you're like, oh yeah, my thoughts are horrible right now. I'm telling myself this horrible story about how I'm so awful, how the world is so awful, how my partner's awful, whatever it may be, then that is going to lead to feeling awful. Sometimes people notice it in the feeling state first, and then you backtrack to what the story is. And sometimes you can be aware of it in the thought pattern first. It kind of just depends on your tendency. If you're just getting started, you're likely to notice your bad mood first, or your fear, panic state first, and then more of a, oh, let me pay attention to my thoughts. So cognitive behavioral therapy is really based on this idea of your thinking patterns create your emotional experience in your world. And cognitive behavioral therapy, hi Veronica, is a wonderful treatment. It's not the end all be all. It will not save you from everything. Trust me, I've tried it, and it's a research based treatment. But and I practiced it for years and years and years, and people tend to get better for periods of time, but there's other pieces to the puzzle. But I like to bring that up because there's a good bit of responsibility you can take in your life around this. And so here's the piece I want to share. How long it takes to really rewire the brain. I think this is super important to understand. And and why it's important to understand is, if you're like, all right, I'm going to start thinking positive, I'm going to say my affirmations, and I'm going to stop thinking negative about my so-and-so, I'm really going to change. And then like 2 weeks later, you're like, well, that didn't work. I guess I failed at that. I'm just keep failing at everything. I want to give you a realistic expectation for what that looks like. So when we do anything, behavior or thought, it gets ingrained in the brain. If you've ever seen those images of like the firing patterns, it looks like electricity in the brain. That is a neural pathway or a deeply ingrained way of being in the world. So when you think about, like, if I'm going to take a sip of water, I don't have to do anything other than set the intention to do that, and my brain picks up the glass. I don't have to say, grab the straw with your mouth, close it around the straw, suck in, oh, don't forget to swallow. Like all of these things are deeply ingrained firing patterns or neural pathways in the brain. Another example that I share is like riding a bike or getting in the car and getting ready to go somewhere. You don't have to stop and like go, oh, I have to put my seatbelt on. Let me grab it and put it on. At one point when you learned to drive, you did have to do that. You really had to think about those things. You put your hands on 10 and 2 and you paid attention to all these pieces until you wired them into your brain. So your thinking patterns are ingrained in your brain. And this is how long it takes to change that. 3 months minimum. So the first 4 weeks or month is the activation stage. So as you're doing something different in thought, like you're all gung-ho, I'm reading my affirmations, I'm thinking positively, I'm noticing my negative thoughts, I'm stopping it. That first month is activating stem cells, and it takes a month for them to be activated from just normal stem cell into neuron. And then it takes another 8 weeks from that neuron to go into neuro pathway, right? So that's where it's that deeply ingrained firing pattern. So a minimum of 3 months. So change takes time. So please be patient with yourself. Wherever you are in your healing journey, working with your thinking patterns is going to be a part of it. Whether you do traditional therapy techniques, whether you do energy work with me, whether you do it with anybody else in the world, you need to be paying attention to what's going on in your head, because that is what is being manifested in your life. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. 3 months minimum, and in reality, probably longer, because you're going to screw up a whole bunch. So you're human. Welcome to the club. You are going to screw up a whole bunch. There's going to be a day where you go the whole day and you are having a big old pity party. You are frustrated and overwhelmed and you can't stand your life or anybody else in it. And at the end of the day, you get in bed and you're like, oh man, I just thought negative all day long. Crap. Oh well, tomorrow's another day. So you wake up with the intention to then work your plan to change your thinking patterns. Okay. Hope that's helpful. Despair anchors. So despair anchors are within the energy field. You won't find those in regular psychology talk or therapy talk. And let me just go ahead and read you what a despair anchor is. These are super common. I find them when I'm doing body code, almost every session a despair anchor comes up. So a despair anchor is the energy of a negative statement that is perceived as a truth by the subconscious mind. The subconscious, being like a computer, will seek to verify or fulfill that truth or the direction of it. So these are usually created from severe or repetitive negative thought patterns and are often related to feelings such as despair, self-abuse, resentment, and shame, right? So they're really low frequency, our pain points. And we ruminate them, and then it gets anchored in. Like on the surface level, it's just a thought. And that thought makes us feel like crap. And maybe we're really afraid that it might be true. And so we begin circling it and circling it and circling it. And then eventually it gets anchored in. And that's when the subconscious is like, well, I don't really like to be wrong, so we're going to make that a reality. And so like most negative trapped energies, this can affect one externally, but the effect is almost always internal. They may influence your emotions, self-image, and create future negative thought patterns, creating a vicious cycle of negative energy. So like I said, there's a whole chart of them. This is very similar to the emotion code chart for those of you who have seen that. It's a chart just full of the various emotions. And this just has thoughts, despair anchors. So any questions about that before I begin tapping in with everybody to pull some of these up and out? I love talking about this stuff. No questions. So let me lead you through a little breath. We'll make a nice connection, and then I will find some of these and we'll clear them. I'm just looking over in the notes. Okay, Shannon, I'm glad your Florida people are good. Chris, you're unsure of it all. I would say to go back and just listen to what I said and try not to make it too complicated. Just simply allow that to be what it is. It's a negative thought, circles a few times, anchors in. And try not to overthink or over worry about it. Just let it be. All right, so let's take a nice deep breath in together. We'll spend probably 3, 5, maybe a little bit more minutes here as I tune in and we release some of these. So nice big exhale. Okay. So as you're taking a few breaths and settling into your body, I invite you to say a silent prayer of consent, allowing me to tap into the field of all those that will listen to this recording, who are present here today, who have an energy that is ready to be released in the form of a despair anchor. And see, sense, or feel into that golden light moving from the divine down through the central channel, out the root, into the earth, connecting you as the bridge between the divine and the earth. Okay. Okay, so let's see. What's the first despair anchor to clear today? Column A, column B, column C, even row, C2. So this is a really common one. I'm not good enough. This is probably one that the majority of us hold at some point in time. I mean, unless we had like the most amazing childhood experiences without ever any, of the normal bumps that come along the way. So I'm not good enough. Yeah. And second one, column A, B, I'll just clear them all at once. C, column A, column B, even row, B2. I'll be rejected. It's another pretty common one. Column A, B, column A, B, C, even row, C2, C4, C6. This is too much, right? This is really the essence of feeling overwhelmed. Like there's just too much in my life. I just can't do it. Another super common one. Column A, B, C, even row, C2. I'm powerless. So if these are resonating with you and you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely mine, just hold your heart. Know that we're going to clear it. We're going to release it. Column A. They despise me. And they can be anybody in your life, right? It's general for a reason. Because we're looking at like the frequency of the statement, not the specific, because it could be a he or a she. It could be mom, it could be dad, it could be your in-laws. They despise me. Column A, column B, even row. I'll never be loved. That's a heavy one. I'll never be loved. Okay, there are more to clear. Column A, even row. A2. I can't be myself. All right, some version of I can't show up in my truth. I can't be authentic. I get rejected. I get turned down. I get told I'm no good. All of those things. Yes, Rebecca, these are really common ones. So I bet most people who listen are going to identify with 90% of these. Yeah. Column A, even row. 2. And I hate myself. This is a common one that gets stuck in adolescence, right? When adolescence, like being a teenager, can be really rough. And we can often move into states of self-loathing, self-hatred during those times because it can just be so bumpy and we turn on ourselves. Okay, column A, column B, column C, even row, C2, C4. Yeah. No one cares. The sense of like profound loneliness. No one cares. Column A, column B, even row. B2. Okay, so there's 2 in this one. The first one is I'm a fool, like feeling like you've really been taken advantage of or someone's made a fool of you, those kinds of experiences. And the other one is I'll never be forgiven. Right? And this is a deep, associated often with a deep despair, obviously, but also a deep regret. Okay, so I'm going to clear these, all the ones that I've spoken and whatever's on the surface and ready for you to let go of. So let's dive in here. So we delete, uncreate, and de-story all of the despair anchors that I've spoken out loud. We do that across all time, space, dimension, and reality, all the way to 0 point. We delete, uncreate, and de-story any other despair anchors that I didn't identify out loud, but that your unconscious, your subconscious is really ready to let go of. Delete and create and de-story those now. We do that across all time, space, dimension, and reality, all the way to 0 point. What would it take for you to be free from despair anchors and anything in the way of that? Delete and create and de-story across all time, space, dimension, and reality, all the way to 0 point. Okay, good. All right, my dears, that is despair anchors, and I hope that information around thoughts has served you. Despair anchors are really common. We all have them. We all probably have hundreds and hundreds of them. I know I've cleared at least that from my own field over the years. I want to ask you to chat in as we come to a close if there are any other areas where you would really like me to do these talks, because I had so much fun doing it last month and this month, and I want to continue doing one a month. And so I've thought about some of the other components in body code we could explore, but if there is something that you really have deep questions about, please, you can chat it in here. You can private message me. Muscle testing, great. Yes, I can do that. I'm happy to teach you all how to muscle test. I will write that one down right now. Thank you, Shannon. Yes, any other ideas or suggestions? I am all over it. Okay. Hi, Christina. You're so welcome. Yes, yes, yes. happy to share. I plan to do these once a month, probably around the first week of the month. And so I hope you continue to tune in and, talk to me. Let me know what you want to know. I'm here for it. Okay, just going to check a couple. You want to know more about shadow work. Okay. Good. You're so welcome, everyone. So welcome. Shadow work. All right, I'll put that down. Thank you, Veronica. Cord cutting. These are good. Thank you. Keep them coming. I'm going to shut the video down so that people who are watching on replay just don't sit here and watch me writing things down, because I'm definitely old-fashioned and write them down. But continue to comment. So you can come back here, drop things in, and I will plan it all out and do it. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful week and happy October. We'll see you soon.